Hey guys, it's 2.1, step 3, video 2 here, themes in OMOM. So at this point, I hope that you have read pages 1 to 16 of the book, chapter 1, and answered those reading questions that are in 2.1. And now we're going to talk about theme. So the learning objectives, students will be able to read chapter 1 of Mice and Men and understand its historical context and setting. What themes are important in Of Mice and Men is the question I want you to be asking yourself as we work through this part of the lesson. Theme, by the way, is defined as a main idea or an underlying meaning of a literary work, which is conveyed by an author and interpreted by a reader. So it takes some work to interpret theme. We can look for basic topics, main ideas that are brought up more than once, and find them, identify them, and look for quotes, moments where this topic is shown. But then the next step is that we have to interpret the meaning. In other words, we have to determine what point the author is making by bringing up this topic over and over. So let's talk about the themes that are in our book. A reminder of the American dream, because this does come up in this text as well. It's just the idea that a hardworking and dedicated person can achieve anything that they want to achieve within the American system. The dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement, was how it was first defined when published in 1931, the first time this term was found in print, the American dream. And it really comes from the Declaration of Independence, which is, of course, much earlier than 1931. And so it's really rooted in the American system. That, we all deserve to be happy, to do whatever it takes to achieve our happiness. But sometimes this dream, the American dream, is problematic in our world. And we saw how it was problematic, how it didn't always work the same for characters in A Raisin in the Sun. And I think we're going to see it again in the book of Mice and Men. So the question you're going to ask yourself here is the American dream possible in the historical context of the novel? So this is our first theme, and so start taking notes now in your packet. Themes in Of Mice and Men 1, the nature of dreams. In essence, Of Mice and Men is as much a story about the nature of human dreams and aspirations as the forces that work against them, as it is the story of two men. And those are those two men we saw in the first chapter, Lenny and George. Humans give meaning to their lives and to their futures by creating dreams. And without dreams and goals, life is an endless stream, I'm not sure what's up with that little S there, of days that have little connection or meaning. We have to look forward to something that we don't yet have. George and Lenny's dream to own a little farm of their own is so central to the book that it appears in some form in 5 of the 6 chapters. So watch for their dream as you read. Good questions to ask when you're looking at this theme are, why do we dream of something better? Does it do us any good? How can we dream in times of turmoil when the world seems to be falling apart around us? The second theme that we're going to be tracing is loneliness. In addition to dreams, humans crave contact with others to give life meaning. Loneliness is present throughout this novel. Some good themes or good questions to ask yourself when looking at loneliness are, first of all, how does being lonely affect people? How can being part of a community help? And how can we have community in times of turmoil? The third theme that we're tracing is powerlessness, not having any power. Steinbeck's characters are often the underdogs, and he shows compassion, sympathy, empathy toward them throughout the body of his writings. Powerlessness takes many forms. Intellectual, we see that, right, with Lenny. Financial, we see that with both Lenny and George. And societal, we see that with Lenny and George as well. And Steinbeck touches on all of these. So think about powerlessness in those different categories as you're reading. Good questions to ask when it comes to powerlessness. Do we all have the same amount of power to make our futures better? Who has more power and why? The fourth theme we're tracing is fate. Life's unpredictable nature is another subject that defines the human condition, what makes us human. Just when it appears that George and Lenny will get their dream, their farm, fate steps in. Steinbeck makes the reader wonder whether mankind should go alone in the world or be responsible and helpful to others who are less fortunate. So just like Plankton always has the same end, right? No matter what he does, he always ends up failing. His plan doesn't work out. Is that his fate? Is he just meant to have that ending? Does he have no control in this? I want you to think about those kinds of things as you think about fate in the book of Mice and Men. Good questions to ask when you're thinking about fate. Are we predestined to a certain outcome? Is it already planned for us? Is there nothing we can do about that, our end? How much do we control our own future? Okay, so these are our 4 themes as we trace, or that I'd like you to trace as we read of Mice and Men. Go back into the first 16 pages and see if you can find an example of one of the themes. I've got a spot for you to list 2 examples. They could be of the same theme, or they could be different themes. Good luck as you work on this. And the mastery check is next. Oh, I guess you have an aspire to do, and then the mastery check is next.